Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Moxxie Coaching podcast. My name is Michelle, and I'll be your host as we explore what coaching is and how it can help you create your best life. If you're anything like me, it's important to you to give back in some way. Maybe it's volunteering in the soup kitchen. Maybe it's donating $1 million to environmental research. It doesn't really matter. I started coaching and podcasting because I'm just one person who can only do so much alone. And I realized that through coaching and through podcasting, I could help and support those of you who want to do good works and exponentially increase the amount of good that I'm able to do. So if this sounds like you, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Be well. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Moxxie Coaching podcast. We are continuing our exploration of the major arcana, and we will be talking about the Tower, the Moon, and the Star cards this week. And we're going to begin with the Tower. The Tower is one of those cards that when it comes up and you're doing a reading for someone who's not familiar with the tarot, it's one of those cards that makes them freeze up a little bit. It's not a happy card when you look at it on the surface. So, kind of like we talked about the Death card, the Devil card, there are some cards that just really sort of strike fear into the hearts of the people for whom they're coming up. And again, like the Death card and like the Devil card, the Tower is not, it's not necessarily a horrible bad card. So let's talk a little bit about it. We'll start with the image and then we'll move forward from there. Now, the image is why people who aren't familiar with tarot look at it and freak out, because it is an image of a very tall gray tower standing on a rocky precipice. The tower is being struck by lightning with flames shooting out of the top. There are clouds, there are little flame, I cannot remember what the name of those things are. They're a Hebrew symbol. Anyway, the little flames coming out. There are two people falling, presumably to their death, out of the tower. So yeah, you can kind of see why people look at this card and say, "Holy crap, what's going on? This is not making me feel very good." Well, like I said, it definitely can have a negative connotation. However, the Tower is very much about change. Now, a lot of cards are about change. We've talked about that. We've talked about the other ones that really talk about what we need to do to change ourselves. But, excuse me, if you remember when we talked about the Death card, that was another card that people have a tendency to see and freak out. And it is also about transformation. You can't deny the fact that falling out of a tower is a transformation. You cannot deny the fact that passing on to the other realm is a transformation. It just is. So transformation's not necessarily bad, and that's, I think, where our heads get in the way. And because this particular deck was designed around a lot of Christian principles, and unfortunately, in Christian society, death is a negative thing. Death is a oh, it's scary and it's difficult, and we don't want to go. A lot of us. So you can see how these cards would have an impact on people who aren't familiar with them, and this card may have had an impact on you when you first saw it. Now, where the death card can be seen sometimes as a positive transformation, more of a rebirth kind of a situation, the Tower card is reminding us, and keep in mind, this is the quote unquote traditional interpretation. There are interpretations all over the place. Different people approach cards differently. However, like I said, we are talking about the traditional Rider-Smith-Waite deck in this course, and we're giving you the foundation so you can learn the basics and then you can riff off of that. So when you listen to someone else's podcast, you may hear a little bit different interpretation, and that's great. That's good. That's how we should be using the cards. But for this foundational class, we're talking about the basics and we're talking about the tradition. So the Tower traditionally is about a fall from grace. It's about having so much hubris, thinking you are it to the nth degree, and basically having the rug pulled out from under you. So if you are working on a project and you are really, really heavily in your ego and you're all about bossing people around and you're all about meeting deadlines and you're all about showing who you are, and that's not showing up very nicely, that's a problem. And so this card would be a representation of someone who is in that mode, and then all of a sudden something happens to them, whether, it could be anything from, maybe it's someone who loses a business deal because they were too cocky and were too pushy. Or maybe it's maybe it's a professional athlete who just thought they were the shit and they break a leg. Well, if you are not in prime shape as a professional athlete, that's problematic. So the hubris and the attitude that this person had before they broke their leg was kind of a what do we want to call it? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's that energy that I am it, I'm everything, you can't beat me. My ego is the size of New York City. And all of a sudden, their life has changed, right? Because they broke their leg, broke it in 3 places. They're out for the season. They may, because they're 32, which cracks me up, they may be out forever. So that's hubris, okay? That is, I am it, and holy crap, I just got the crap knocked out of me. That's hubris. It's a fall from grace. And it is representative, or this card is representative, of a major, sudden life change. Now, sometimes this change can be for the good. It's basically telling you to expect the unexpected. So think of a time in your life when you were just where the rug was pulled out from underneath you. Maybe it was a sudden death of someone that you love. Maybe it was a sudden loss of a job. Maybe it was, goodness, it could be anything. Maybe you'd been building your house and you'd been working on it and working on it and working on it, and the house got struck by lightning. That is a sudden, drastic change, and it is unexpected, right? So the Tower card is telling you to be aware, change is afoot. You need to start thinking about expecting the unexpected, and just be aware that something could be changing, and this is a good time for you to be in a place of, oh, what do I want to call it? I'm picturing a super ball, a round bouncy rubber ball. You need to be like that. You need to be able to sort of bounce back and just move on. So the tower is just telling you, hey, just get into this place of you're going to bounce wherever things take you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So since there's nothing you can do about it, remember that this is a time for you to embrace your dharma and just go with the flow, see where the bouncy ball takes you. So what are the archetypes of the Tower card? Well, very sadly, this card, especially in the Rider-Smith Waite deck, is a very good representation of what happened in the Twin Towers in 9/11. 9/11, completely unexpected situation. I can remember I was sitting on the floor in my office sorting through some documents, had the television on in the background, and completely disengaged. I mean, completely thinking about something else. And the shock, right? The jaw dropping and completely unexpected. And and I am by no stretch of the imagination a, what do we call it? A political or socio-political expert. But my understanding is that one of the reasons so many other countries, other groups have a real disdain for us in America is that we are so self-centered. You know, we think we are it. We have a huge collective national ego. And I'll tell you what, 9/11 knocked the shit out of that ego and brought us to our knees. And the Tower card can do that. Now, like all things, there are positives and negatives. There is the dark side and the light and the shadow, whatever you would like to call it. You know, we automatically assume that negative things are going to happen, especially when things happen suddenly and out of the blue. A lot of us really, really don't like that. And that is true a lot of the times, right? No one likes to be negatively surprised. But there are good surprises too, right? So there are surprises like a new baby. Wow, we had no idea we are expecting a new baby. We weren't planning on it, but here it is. Here's this new baby coming. So don't. I don't want to say don't. I don't want to tell anyone how to interpret these cards because it's such a personal thing. And there are some primary guidelines to keep in mind. So I guess what I'm saying is try not to freak out when you see the card. Just look at it and say, okay, thank you. Thank you, universe, for showing me this card because now I can start thinking about what might be coming. I can start mentally preparing myself for the fact that something very well could be changing. And I'm not aware of what it is. So now it's time for me to get on my sneakers and get my like flexy bouncy legs so I can move and go in whatever direction I need to go based on what happens with this card. Questions you may ask yourself based on this card are a little bit tricky because remember the card is a little bit unpredictable. But you can ask yourself, am I ready for a major change? And if I'm not, what do I need to do to get ready? Even if it's just to mentally prepare my head for the fact that I don't know what's coming, but something is changing, something's transitioning here. So are you ready for a major change? Are your affairs in order based on the situation? And I'm not talking about, are your affairs in order? Do you have your will and your children's godparents picked out? I'm talking more about, do you have it together? So if there's something major that's changing in your life, you're on top of it. If you're buying a house, do you have all your ducks in a row? Do you have all of your financials taken care of? Do you have you had it inspected? Have you done all of these things? Because maybe if you don't do those things, this card is telling you you're going to be sorry with your purchase. Maybe you purchased a house that you were so excited about, but realized that because you didn't have it inspected, you didn't have any idea, it was falling apart and, yada, yada, yada. So when I say getting your affairs in order, I'm not saying, oh my God, the death card or the tower card, I better get my will taken care of and stay off of city streets so I don't get hit by a bus today or something along those lines. It's not at all it. So yeah, it's basically it's hard to ask yourself questions with this one. It's more of a little bird on your shoulder saying, hey, be aware, change is in the air. You're not really going to be able to do anything about it, and you're going to be surprised by it. So just try to go with the flow. And how nice is it? We get a lovely, lovely, lovely card called the Star. And the star image is a nude woman kneeling with one foot in the water and one foot on the shore. And she is pouring water. She's surrounded by smaller stars, and then there's one central star hovering above her. The water itself symbolizes the water of life. So we've gone from the tower, which is, the tower, into something much more pleasant, the star. And I want to add something here parenthetically because this is really the topic of another podcast. But the tarot is laid out in sometimes what people call a fool's journey. And the journey is from the very beginning with the magician, where we're manifesting who we are and what we want to be, all the way up through their life and through these life events. So if you look at it from that perspective, your last life event was the tower. And in this journey, you've moved beyond the tower and you are now rewarded with being in the space of the star. So that's an interesting way to look at the tarot. And as we get more involved and we get more in depth into things, we'll start to talk a little bit more about that. So what does the star card bring to us? It brings hope. It brings optimism. It brings courage. It's kind of like a card where you feel in your power, where you feel confident, strong, grounded, and you're in a place where you can kind of go anywhere. And what is it that you want to do? Dream up what you want to create when you see this card coming. Archetypes for this card: Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. People who are half full or half cup full people. So is your cup empty? Is it full? Oh, it's half empty. Or, oh, it's half full. Those are the ones. Oh, it's half full people. Another way to envision this type of the star energy is like a 2-year-old who is learning to do something. And if you've ever watched a child who is bound and determined to learn something, it's going to happen. Whether it is, gosh, I don't know. Let's go back to younger than 2. Let's say a 1-year-old who's learning to walk. And that baby is not stopping anywhere. That baby is going to learn how to walk. It's going to go up, down, land on its butt so many times and probably face plant a couple times. But it is that energy of this driven, positive growth, hope for the future type of energy. The little engine who could is another one. If you know that old story about the little engine, the tiny little engine who none of the engines thought he could, what was it, go up the hill or something along those lines. So it's this energy of, wow, I'm in such a great place right now. And this transition from the tower was a good one for me, even though it didn't seem like a good one at the time because it was really hard. But now I can see that things are in a positive. So, what kind of questions should you ask yourself when this card comes up? You might ask yourself what you want from a particular situation if you could make that situation go any way you wanted it to go. So, that little 1-year-old from their situation wants to be able to get up and run around like their 3-year-old sister. And that is they want it so bad, right? So what do you want so bad that you're willing to do that work for, that that you are manifesting? And what would that situation look like if you could make it go any way you wanted? If you could create it from scratch by yourself with only exactly what you wanted in it. You might also ask, what are your hopes? And what are your dreams? And what are your hopes and dreams in relationship to what brought you to the cards today? What, related to the situation. So let's say you are doing a relationship reading for yourself and you are trying to get a feel for, let's say you are doing a reading about your love life, your personal relationships, and finding a partner because that's something you're ready for. You really want that. You want to manifest, right? You want to manifest this partner. And you're doing a reading to help you figure out what you need to do. The question for your reading is, what can I do to move myself toward meeting someone who is a good match for me? Well, if this card comes up, this card says, ooh, good question. What do you want? How would you want this relationship to look if you made things work with this person? How would you like to be treated by this person? How would you like to treat them? How do you see, I don't know, can you see yourself with this person 10 years from now? All of those kinds of questions. So, what are your hopes and dreams related to the situation that you brought the cards out for? And it can also be a reminder that you have maybe you've put something on the back burner for a little while and it's time for you to bring it back out. You know, maybe you had a specific career goal and you had kids and that career goal went by the wayside. Well, your kids are old enough now that you feel comfortable starting to explore that career goal a little bit more. If this card comes up, it's saying, okay, yes, what do you need to bring forth? What do you need to pull off that back burner to make yourself feel whole again, to make yourself feel whatever has been lacking when you have not been out in the world working? Not to say that children aren't wonderful. I have my own. And having our own lives as adult women is important too. Okay. So that's the star. And it's just a very pleasant, it's like a happy card. It's one that everybody likes to see, and there's no reason not to. The last card we're going to be talking about this week is the moon. And the moon is a fun one to talk about around Halloween, I think, because it's all about shadow and it's all about imagination and mystery. It's about the unknown and the unknowable. The imagery on the card in the Rider-Smith-Waite deck is a very large moon that honestly to me looks like a sun. Anyway, it is against a very dark blue background. There is a wolf and there is a dog at the base of the picture, both looking up, howling at the moon. And they're standing on the shore, and coming out of the water is a lobster. So what the heck does all of that symbolism mean? Well, the dog represents a tamed animal, and the wolf represents an untamed animal. Kind of both sides of the mystery of the moon, right? Is it a good mystery? Is it a bad mystery? Is it something hidden in the shadows that we don't want to know or think about or address? Or is it something hidden in the shadows that we really want to bring forth and manifest in the world? Water symbolizes intuition and the subconscious, and the lobster coming out of the water is said to represent the wisdom of our subconscious coming to the surface. So all of this moon energy is mysterious, a little unknown, makes us squint into the darkness type of energy. And some people love being in this space, some people really don't, okay? And here are some questions that you can ask of yourself if this card comes up for you. Number one, what do you know, or what do you need to know, pardon me, about the situation you drew cards for? So for example, you did a spread and you wanted to know X, Y, or Z. Well, what do you need to know about that situation, and how can you find out? What is it that you need to know and be aware of so you're not left in this space of the dark, right? What is it? Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. And what is that? Be aware of what you might need to know, and be aware of the fact that you may not know everything you need or want to know. You can also ask if the emotions that you're feeling around a particular situation are appropriate and in scale, or are you kind of blowing them out of proportion? Because the moon is a lot of big energy, and it can bring us to the point where we get a little wound up, where we're anxious, where we're unsure. And so the moon could be asking you, it's like, okay, I'm here, but you really need to be making such a thing about this? Maybe not. The moon also invites you to pay attention to your dreams. So when this card comes up in a reading, you can ask yourself, oh man, what have I been dreaming about lately? If you're one of those lucky people who is good at remembering your dreams. Because our dreams can teach us an awful lot about ourselves. And it could be that this card is saying, hey, you need to be looking in to what's in the back of your head that you're not even aware is there. And look into your subconscious and let your dreams actually teach you something. And lastly, you may want to ask yourself if you're feeling like you're in the dark about a particular situation. So, had biopsy results or had a biopsy last week, and you're not going to get the results for 2 weeks. And this card may come up for you because you're feeling nervous and unsure and in the dark about the situation. Any situation like that. Maybe you're not ready for children and you're thinking that you might be pregnant. So, thankfully we can find out pretty quickly. But if this card's coming up, it could be, it's like, you might be unaware of something here. So just be aware when this card comes up that it's asking you to look at what you may not be aware of or what you may not be in touch with. And that's a good way to approach the card. All right, I think that is it for these 3 cards. And I do believe, unless I am wrong, we only have 3 cards left in the majors. So next week we'll be talking about the sun, about judgment, and the world. And those are the 3 cards that culminate the Fool's Journey and wrap up the first portion of our course. So that's it for this week. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. Remember, you can get a hold of me at my website, moxxiecoaching.com, Moxxie coaching.com. I'm on all of the social media platforms, including TikTok, which is like super fun for me now. And yeah, so I hope to see you all there, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Be well.